Welcome to Chapter 12, Building the Dashboard with Dash. So we've just begun a new part of the course and opened up notebook number 12. And we're finally ready to build our dashboard. So we've downloaded and transformed the raw data, we've calculated predictions, we've created Plotly graphs, and we've learned some HTML and CSS. So we had to undergo all of these steps first to prepare ourselves for building this dashboard. So what exactly is Dash? It is an open source Python library created and maintained by the company Plotly. It provides tools to display data with interactivity and creates the entire dashboard application. So it is built directly on top of Flask and React.js. Flask is a very popular Python web framework, while React.js is another popular, but it is a framework, but it is a JavaScript framework. It was initially released by Facebook and has become one of the most dominant and popular web frameworks today. So Dash does not make any plots, but it does take Plotly visualizations and does display them in the application. All right, so this is part one, parts of a Dash application. So there are two parts of a Dash application. One is the layout and the other is the interactivity, or sometimes called the callbacks. So the layout describes the physical components of the application. And these physical components can be divided into two other categories, the HTML components or the Dash components. So the HTML components are the exact same standard HTML elements that you would create using tags, but it's available as Python classes from this Dash HTML components module. So we'll encounter several of these. And then you have the Dash components. These are more complex components. They combine together multiple HTML elements, CSS, and JavaScript into a single component. So these are the drop-down menus, the checklists, the tabs, the placeholders for Plotly figures and sliders, and actually many other items that you'll see coming up. So that's the first part. That's the layout. And then there's the interactivity. So the interactivity is just code that makes changes to the layout components whenever a particular event occurs. So and it has to be at a separate part of the application when we are programming. So you'll see that whenever we'll have different callbacks, and that creates the interactivity. So there'll be some, we'll want to call back whenever we click on a particular, country. This is one of the examples down here in our data table. Then some graphs will be updated. So you can map almost any action in your dashboard to a particular callback that will then make changes. All right, so some notes on how you typically start a Dash application. Usually we write our code in a separate file, and that code is written in dashboard.py. But for this instruction, we're actually going to write the code in the notebook to keep the notes together with the code. And this will be done. We need actually a separate library, and this is not for production. It's just for this, these tutorials. It's called Jupyter Dash. So you'll need to install this now with either pip or conda. So you can put this in your virtual environment. Pip install Jupyter -dash, and this is a specific version, just so that there are no changes whenever you watch this. Okay, so go ahead and install Jupyter Dash if you have not already, and then we'll get on with creating our dashboard.